Record this. Yep, we're live. So now we're live. We're waiting for people to log in. Well, people were in line waiting for us to broadcast. We have now 6 people that just joined us. So let's give it around 2 to 3 minutes for people to join us. Yep. It's great. For those who just joined us, can you please raise your hand if you can hear me clearly, if the sound is working? Just want to make sure like everyone is listening, no audio issues. Thank you. Diana, Jordan. Can you guys raise your hands again if you can hear me clearly? Thank you, Dion. Thank you, Jordan. Okay, great. Yep. Getting more people in. Let's just wait for a few more minutes. Ten people. Yes, it's growing fast. 11.
Hola.
Hi, Luis. How are you?
Bien. Good, Alberto. Hola, Helena.
Hola, Luis.
We're just waiting 2 more minutes so people can join us.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Alberto, are you from Colombia?
Yes, I am.
Oh, I was peeking at your LinkedIn profile and noticed that, well, he might be from Colombia then. Yeah.
Yes. My dad is from Barranquilla. My mom is from Medellin, so I have a mix.
Oh, well, I go to Medellin quite a bit every year, so.
Oh, good for you.
Yeah, and
So
are you in the private equity space?
yes.
Oh, well, we should. Oh, okay, good.
Consulting. In that Wild West world.
Yeah, exactly.
Okay. 1 more minute and we're ready to start. Yeah. More people. Okay, before we go ahead and get it started, can you all please raise your hand if you can hear me clearly so you don't have any issues with audio? Thank you, Jorge. Thank you, Dion. Thank you, Mildred. Okay, welcome everyone again to the third day of the pre-series of webinar that we have. It started from Monday, then Wednesday and Friday. Ignite the fire within you. This webinar is an opportunity for you to reflect in this crisis that we're living currently. You know, we experience all stress, mental health issues, anxiety. We're all social people. We're human beings that we love interacting with other human beings. But this is an opportunity for you to connect with yourself to think about the things that you can improve and that you can achieve in this environment where we need to look each other. So today, again, our agenda is going to be a quick introduction of Alpha. For those who are new to our organization, you will know a little bit more. Then I'm going to do a quick intro of Kuma, the principles that they have. My guest speaker today is Dr. Helena Knorr, an amazing. I'm so excited to introduce her, share with her some thoughts and her knowledge through whole mindfulness and yoga. We're going to wrap it up with Q&A questions at the end. Feel free to drop off your questions as we go through the presentation, and then we're going to answer all those at the end. Then a little bit of upcoming event, survey follow-up. We appreciate your feedback, your comments, what type of content topics you want to see in this webinar. So feel free to follow up our survey. And then we're going to finalize with sponsors. So for those who are new to Alpha, Alpha stands for the Association of Latino Professionals for America. We have more than 45 years of history, and it all started back in the 1970s with a young professional, Gil Vasquez, in LA, California, who decided to open a space for Latinos in finance and accounting to network and be more visible in corporate America. So we're gonna be forever thankful with Gil Vasquez for opening the door for the upcoming generation that need to have that ground base and to have such a beautiful organization like we have today, Alpha, that we all feel proud to be one community. 2005, Alpha is proud to say that we have awarded about $1.4 million in a scholarship for Latino students who have outstanding academic credentials with 3.75 GPA. This wouldn't be possible without your support as a member, but also as sponsors as part of our organization. So we encourage you to join us either as a volunteer or as a sponsor, or reach out your company and say like, hey, I'm a Latino. I would love to join this organization. It's doing so much, not only for our community, but also for minorities. So we're inclusive. We help our LGBTQ plus community, African American community. So we're all each other here to support each other. We also recognize the power of our Latina. So as by 2017, we partnered with Fortune Magazine and Columbia University to hold the 50 most powerful Latina event in corporate America as an opportunity to recognize that effort of our Latinas. I know that there are so many out there today that they need to be recognized. So if you know any Latina that is making a positive impact in our communities, feel free to reach out alpha.org. We have nominations still open, I believe. So let us know who are those Latinas in our community. We envision a 2020 Alpha Boston chapter inclusive. We're redesigning ourselves. We're readapting to the news condition. So we're gonna be here for you. Feel free to reach out anytime you need it. We are more than 8,000 members here in Boston. It's the second largest chapter all across the USA. We have more than 40 sponsors and 20 universities and student chapters as well. A little bit about Kuma. Kuma is a wellness ecosystem that integrates knowledge and practice to help the human being to achieve that self consciousness and awareness as a human. It is all based in 3 pillars: holistic health, inner wisdom, and empowerment. Today, my guest speaker is gonna use yoga as an introduction to that empowerment and how can we reach our own potential. My guest speaker today is Dr. Helena Knorr. She's a Ph.D. in Human Resources Education from Minnesota University. She was born in Mozambique, raised and educated in Portugal and Spain, and she has built her career as a business professor, career coach for over the last 14 years. We're so excited to have her global experience. She's been working in so many parts of the world, Europe, Africa, and the USA. Helena became a yoga professor to the intention to help people to reach their own potential. She had the opportunity to work with vulnerable community, such as young women at risk, to practice yoga as an opportunity to overcome those hard situations. The combination of these areas have motivated Helena to join Kuma and serve to a higher purpose. This higher purpose is empower individual and allow them to reach their own potential throughout these three pillars from Kuma, who are holistic health, inner wisdom, and yoga. Without further ado, please join me and welcome me, Helena.
Thank you. I don't see myself, but that should be fine, right, Eberto?
You should, no, you don't, yeah, you will see.
I don't get to see myself. I don't get to see what they see, right?
Yeah, exactly.
Okay. Well, welcome everyone. This is a delight to be here presenting information that I hope you can use as tools in the near future, say starting today. I bring this experience, this combination of all these areas that Eberto shared with you. And today I put everything together into this webinar in which I will talk about empowerment, what that means and how we can use empowerment, linked to yoga and the chakra system, which is energetic points that we have along our body, and how to untap and get the energy going so that we can know ourselves better. We can sort through the blockages and get to our genuine selves and authentic selves. So if you can go to the next slide, I appreciate that. Yeah, so empowerment. When we talk about empowerment, you can find so many definitions. What does empowerment mean to me? What does empowerment mean to you? I think that all of us would agree that it's not power over. That means that you have the ability to reach into your inner resources and use them to pursue anything in life that you want to accomplish. And how do you empower yourself? Well, I learned throughout the years and through working with myself and with other people, students, clients, and people like you and me, professionals that have their dreams, I have learned that one of the best things we can do is actually breathe. When you breathe, you get in touch with yourself. When you're conscious breathing, you realize that there is more to yourself than all the worries that you have. It's like a parenthesis. How do you start to realize the breathing has that force? Well, we all know, and Eberto was mentioning this, that we're through this crisis of health worldwide. And if you notice, it affects many, many parts of our bodies, but the main one that affects is actually the lungs. So working on breathing is really relevant, something that we can start doing today with a more conscious effort. We decided to call this webinars, have a title that talked about the igniting the fire within. And the session is about empowering yourself, but I wanted to talk about what does fire means. What is the fire? What does that mean? Well, fire is a life force that we have running through us. So if we didn't have that, we would not be able to be alive. How do we access that? We access that through breath. And we can access that through exercise. In this case, I will be accessing this with you through yoga. I trained for becoming a teacher a few years ago, but I have been practicing yoga for many, many years. And I can tell you with the practice that as a beginner, few years ago, I was afraid that I was not flexible enough, that I would not be good enough, that I would not be. And the more I practiced, the more I realized that the yoga practice was something that I had to make my own. So I encourage you, if you're new to yoga, it doesn't matter where you start, it matters that you start breathing. And that's yoga. Breathing is part of yoga. And then you get into a routine of performing some exercise. In yoga terms, we call them asanas. It's a Sanskrit word. And through those movements, what we do is we initiate movement, energetic movement throughout the body to ignite that fire that we have. So some classes might make you feel that you're, very, very hot. Other classes, you feel like you're more calmed. But through the breath, you will help yourself through the movement. I don't know how many of you have practiced yoga, how many of you are aware of the chakra system, but I want to explain just very briefly what that is. The chakra system is a system that is talked about in India a very long time ago, and the Buddhist tradition has the connection to, explains it in a different way. The Chinese tradition has a different way of explaining it, but many traditions around the world have something in common, which they say, we are made of energy. So in the chakra system, and if you're more curious about this, I can send a link so that you can look at the specifics of each chakra. We have 7 chakras along the body ending over here. And those are energetic, imagine them as energetic points that get blockaged when we have problems. Say, you are experiencing, someone gave you bad news, and all of a sudden you hold your breath and you're feeling it over here. So that would be a response to your energetic level at the heart center. So today, what I thought I would do is lead you through a very brief routine that you can do. I have my mat over here right behind me. I also have a chair. I don't know if you're using a chair in your office or house. I'm going to lead you through a very short practice in which we will tap on the chakra energetic points only through 1, 2, 3, and 4. So we will do the root chakra, we will do the creativity chakra, second chakra, third chakra, which is solar plexus, and then heart chakra, a little bit of the throat chakra, but then we will have this one over here between our eyes, and 6 and 7. So we don't have enough time to do that. I don't want to rush you. This is a calming place to start. And one thing I have realized throughout the years is that all of this yoga practice, in my practice outside of yoga, which is the academia, the consulting, the coaching, the executive coaching, I have used yoga as a tool to integrate all the other areas. And I think that providing you with some tools to get to know yourself better would be a good way to start. So how do we start? I would like you to sit down, if you can do that. And I'm just gonna remove my glasses and just sit down. If you're on a chair, just you don't have to do anything particular, but your feet on the floor, calmed. If you're sitting, I only want your back to be straight. And then if you can place your hands on your knees, either seated or seated on the floor, make sure that your back is straight. I have a block that I put so that my back is straight. You don't need to be too flexible. If you prefer, you can also be on your knees. So I'm just going to demonstrate. I'll go behind and to show you. So seated on a blanket, seated on a chair, Or if you prefer, you can also use a block or a book or something like a cushion, and it's on your knees. Everything needs to be very, very comfortable for you. So place your hands on your knees and let's just close our eyes. And just breathe and pay attention to your breath. Inhaling and exhaling. Bring air in and out. Noticing what's moving through you. You notice your chest expanding when you're inhaling. Holding your breath. Take a few deep breaths. Try to inhale all the air you can. Don't hold your breath and then just let it flow. What's the perfect breath? Your breath. There's nothing perfect for everyone. And as you do that, I'd like to ask you to move your hands, and instead of having them on your knees, place them on your belly. You're still breathing, don't hold your breath. You have your eyes closed. And I'm going to ask you now to inhale, take air, but try to make your belly move, if that makes sense, like babies breathe. Inhale, expand your belly, and exhale. You notice your hands. This is a calming breath. Doesn't have to be perfect. Okay, now just go back to your initial position, put your hands on your knees and keep breathing through your chest, expanding, inhaling and exhaling. Nice. So open your eyes for a little bit. You can't answer me, but you can answer yourselves. How do you feel now? And so that's the start. Being very conscious of your breath and taking the time to notice. You feel better when you're conscious of your breathing? Are you calm down? Or do you have so many thoughts in your head that are telling you, oh, I don't know if I did it right or wrong. Is she telling me to breathe with the stomach or with the lungs? Breathing is something you do normally. But I'm just asking you to be very conscious of that. So from here, I'd like you to, if you're seated, you remain seated on your chair. If you're kneel down, I'm just gonna ask you to stand up. And if you're sitting down, stand up. So chakra 1 would be our root chakra. And a good way to start activating that would be to place your feet one shoulder distance apart. I want you to be stable. So for me, my best position would be a little bit farther than that. Your knees a little bit bent, so I don't want them locked, a little bit bent. And then roll your shoulders. Roll your shoulders, nice. If you're seated down, I'm gonna demonstrate, but those of you that are standing up, just keep rolling your shoulders. You're seated down. I think you can see me. Roll your shoulders. Nice. Roll them forward. Then just shake your hips to the sides. You can do some roll over the hips. For those of you that are seated, what you would do is just kind of move your hips up, front and back a little bit. It's activating the second chakra, so front and back. And then come into a still position. So standing up, arms on the sides. Your chin is not tucked down or too up. Just try to find a point in space that you have in front of you and just gaze. I'm gonna turn so you see me. Your back is straight, your arms are relaxed, your feet are on the floor. I want you to pay attention to your feet. And your gaze is looking straight. If you're seated, I want you to pay attention to your feet as well. Our feet ground us. And in terms of what we're doing in this pandemic crisis and all the things that are very, very, very moving, changing, unstable, our feet are stable on our ground as for this moment. So I want you to breathe here. Bring back the breath. Not that you stopped, but just be with your breath. You want to close your eyes, that's fine. You feel like you're losing balance because of closing your eyes, let them open. But a soft gaze. Not trying to see the details of what you're looking at, but rather have a relaxed gaze. Nice. So we're inhaling together. As we inhale, we're going to bring our arms up. So let's inhale all together. Inhale our arms to the sides up. And then exhale them to the sides. Do this 2-3 times for those of you that are seated as well. Inhaling up, and you can look up. If you don't lose your balance, you can do that. It's just breathing. Nice. 2 or 3. Now, next stage would be, I want you to separate your legs a little farther, and your toes are going to point 180. Okay, I don't know if you can see my feet, but I'll demonstrate with my hands. Place them wider than your shoulders, bent, and then facing this direction. Yes. And now your hands are going to bring your shoulders up, and your chest is expanding. For those of you that are seated, I'll demonstrate right now. For those of you that are standing, just bend your knees a little bit. You're going to start feeling your legs. You're going to start feeling your core and your chest expanding. Don't hold your breath. Just breathe. And hold a steady but soft gaze. Your arms are up. You can move your hands, and wherever that's comfortable for you, that's what you need to do. For those in seating position, your legs are spread, your arms are up, and you're breathing. So this particular position is called goddess position. And you're working many muscles at the same time. You're working energetic chakras in your body. Okay, bring your arms close together, and then bring your legs to initial tree pose. And then take a couple of inhales and exhales to the sides. And the people that are sitting down, just do the same. And seated. Nice. And then those of you that are standing, we're going to go down to the mat. So I'd like you to sit down. I'm going to face the camera soon, but I'll show you first. I think you need to see. Okay, so we are seated, 90-degree angle. I don't want your back arched. I want air to be flowing. For those of you that are seated, I'll explain. Very simple. Bring your left leg up, closer to your glute. And then with your left arm, embrace the left knee. Bring your right arm up. And then back. That's a very soft twist. And just breathe here. Now, if you want to make a little bit stronger, so that's a very soft version, you could bring your left leg over the right. And if you're seated, you would be crossing the leg like you usually do when you sit, if you cross your legs, and then changing the arms. So right embraces left, and then left, up, and then down. So now this is a more intense twist, which cleanses the internal organs. And keep breathing here. So while you're doing this on the floor, I'm gonna demonstrate on the chair. But please make sure you're breathing. I don't want anyone to hold their breath. So I will be crossing my leg over. Then right arm up over the left knee. Extend the left arm up and then put it behind. And it is a twist. So you're twisting your torso, you're opening your chest. And this is a very detoxifying asana. So you'll be needing to drink water after. And some of you might be already sweating. Nice. Keep breathing. For those of you on the floor, if you haven't switched your legs, please do so. For those seated, just switch your leg. So now, right is crossing over the left. Left arm is holding the knee. Right arm up and behind, just twisting. Just breathing. So we're sharing very few exercises. We're moving a lot of energy, even though you may not see it. It's happening. So if you're on the floor, just switching. And keep breathing. For those of you on the floor, you're probably also noticing your glutes are extending. So everything is kind of stretching along your bigger muscles, your quadriceps as well in this posture, this asana. And from here, those of you on the floor, just release the twist. Shake your hand, shake your arms, shake your legs a bit. For those of you on the chair, do the same. Nice. And from here, place both hands on the floor. Show you with the chair. It's a cool exercise. And bring your legs up. Now this is gonna work your core. For those of you that are a lot more flexible, you can bring your legs up, all the way up. You have choices. I don't know how many of you practice yoga, but if you are more advanced, go for it. Back is straight as much as possible, so it's not bent. Straight. And breathe. Don't hold your breath. If you are starting to shake, bring your legs down and then try again 2-3 times. I'm gonna sit on the chair and show you. So if you are seated and you're in your office, you can grab the chair and bring your legs up. It's gonna be working your abdominals. If you don't want to grab on the chair, you can do this. That's working. If you're not feeling anything, Then start crossing the legs. You're gonna start feeling everything. Your hips and your belly are gonna go nuts. Yeah. So you do that on the chair. For those of you that have tried 3 times doing this, I'd like you now to place yourselves on the mat, on the floor, on the blanket, whatever you have with you. Rest both of your arms on the floor and just breathe. Close your eyes and notice the energy. For those of you on the chair, I'd like you to come closer to the end of the chair. Both feet on the floor and just rest here. Your back should be straight. Close your eyes and notice the energy. Your breath has been activated. Excuse me. So you probably have more of a breath that is making it beat your heart faster. Excuse me. So let's do this. Those of you that are laying down on the floor, you're probably calmer. Because the floor is the earth and has a calming effect on your back. For those of you that are seated, bring your hands to your belly. And let's do this breathing. Where your belly expands when you take air in and out. Nice. Take 2 more deep breaths. For those of you that are seated, you remain seated. For those of you that are on the floor, let me show you how I'd like you to come back to seated. So from here, I want you to roll your knees to the left or right, depending on where you are. And then placing this hand, the one that would reach the ceiling on the floor, place it, and then help it make you come up. It's very important how we come out of asanas. I don't want anyone to get injured. So when we get into something and when we get out of something, let's do it with grace and ease and be safe, not to injure ourselves. So let's go back to seated. You can use a block or a blanket. In this case, I'm just going to use a blanket. For those of you seated, place your hands on your knees. Maybe instead of sitting on the edge of the chair, just go back to having your back recline or a 90-degree angle and just your feet on the ground. And for those on the floor, place your hands on your knees. And just take a couple of breaths in and out. Nice. Bring both hands together. Rub them. Depending on where you are, it might be really hot because it's summertime. So don't rub them too hard. Don't want to be burning. We want the fire within to be ignited, but not burning. Nice. And place both hands on your chest. Close your eyes. And breathe. You have no instructions now for breathing. I just want you to breathe and listen to me. If you were to do something today that would make you feel calm, happy, at ease, what would that one thing be? Ask that question to yourselves. I don't need an answer. you have the answer within. Just let it come to you. And when it does, if it hasn't, take the time. When it does, bring both hands together and place them close to your heart. And now thank yourselves. Say thank you and then say your name to yourself. I guess I would say, thank you, Helena. Thank you. And then open your eyes. Well, thank you so much. What I share with you today is very brief, very, very brief, yet has the power to move through you energy. And that's the start to igniting the fire within, to take the time to breathe consciously, to take the time, not too long, to start little, but little steps, incremental steps. During the time of crisis, we can get very distracted. We can get like the wind that blows really fast and hard, and we can get our roots a little bit shaken. Our ground might be shaking like an earthquake, but we have the ability to come to things like this, like yoga in this case, to make ourselves present. When we're breathing, we're present. Mindfulness means being present. One of the meanings of being mindful is to be present. So I'm gonna get closer to the camera, but all of you don't move, keep there while I'm talking. This is not something you have to understand with your rational mind. It's something you have to feel through. And this very brief thing we did at the end, asking ourselves to do something, what's the one thing that we want to do to feel calm and happy and at ease today. It's part of a meditation that is related to the heart, it's related to the breathing, and it's related to empowering yourself. Why? Because we need it. I haven't found anyone that has said, oh, this is not helping me at all. But I have found people that have very difficult time in sitting, in breathing seated. So there are multiple ways to do this. You can definitely go for a walk. You can do a walking meditation. You can put music and walk. But the thing is to be aware of your breath so that the music is not moving your body and then your breath is catching up. Very, very important. I have presented very short class. This is an intro class. We have worked through with the breath and this exercises, asanas within yoga. We have worked through many things and what the chakras mean and what the energy means within those chakras. So self-esteem, personal values, understanding yourself, accepting where you are, overcoming your fears with breath. Sometimes, many times, we get this response of, I need to do this, but I'm afraid, and then something is blocked in the chest. So breathing through that allows you, first of all, to let it flow, then understand with your mind, and then formulating strategies to cope with the fear, to understand the fear and overcome that. But we also do more things. There are subtle things that you have noticed in this session that you have noticed in yourself that I cannot tell, but you know. Some of you might have noticed I haven't had enough water today. I didn't drink a healthy drink earlier. I haven't had a nice lunch. I'm so tired. All those things that you found through this very short session, are important. So pay attention to them. And then if there are any questions as a follow-up, please do. I would love to answer those questions. I integrated the calming breath, the asanas, and meditation towards the end. But I also have, and I provided the link to Eberto, which I hope he will give to you, 3 different worksheets that will help you with the understanding of what this can do for you. I use them for coaching. If you respond to those to yourself, you're instantly, by responding, by paying attention to the moment of how you're feeling and what you're saying to yourself, that exercise is going to say something. It's going to be a roadmap for you. And I have 3 different ones. One, for example, is after you do, after you're calmed, you will respond differently than when you're not, when you're stressed out, and when you're in a, let's call it normal state. So there's like 3 different ones, and I think it's a good start. I know that many of you will have questions, so I don't know, Alberto, if anyone has questions for us. I'm not looking at the clock, so I kind of...
Yes, so I think it's the perfect timing for questions. Feel free, guys, to type your questions in the chat room. We're then happy to pass it over to Helene. I just want to start one common question that every time I practice yoga, I don't know if it's the right timing for everyone to do yoga in the morning or afternoon. From your experience and your recommendations, when do you think is the best time for people to start doing yoga? Is it in the morning, afternoon, before going to bed? When is the best time?
That's a good question. So I think it varies. It depends on the routines that we have. Some people are a morning person like I am, so I do wake up very early and do my morning routine. If I have worked and stayed up late, I'm not going to. So flexibility would be good. I don't have a preference or recommendation for when's best, but I would say this. If you have had a big lunch, a big dinner, or a big breakfast, don't practice right after. So don't practice right after a big meal, but find a way. And sometimes people say, I don't have time, I don't have the practice, I don't, okay, but time we have to find if we really want to experience some benefits. And you don't have to go for an hour and a half of yoga. You don't have to go for an hour. You don't have to go for too long. I'd say starting just with sitting and breathing, that's pranayama. Breathing is yoga. So if you do 3, 4 minutes, 5 minutes of just sitting down and breathing, that's a start. Did I answer, Eberto?
Yes, definitely.
Yeah.
Some other questions that I've seen like in different sessions, it's about how we get kids engaged into yoga, and if it's possible for like little ones, like kids, get motivated. If you have a family, how do you deal with that? Like sometimes we say, oh, this is just for adults.
Yeah.
Be mindful of their breathing, but how do you teach or to kids and young population or folks are very hyper and
yeah, I love it. Love the question. Yes. So I do love kids. And I approach the teaching of yoga to kids with a heart, like I approach everything. But I think kids need to play. So they need to see yoga as a game, storyline, something that they can participate, not just be the passive actors of someone telling you what to do. They go to school, they get told what to do. they are home, they get told what to do. If they go to a yoga class, they need to engage in a way that it's playful for them. So for example, I've taught yoga to kids at risk that were at a basketball camp. So I came up with a class, a yoga class adapted, in which they actually used the balls, the basketballs, to do yoga, and they loved it. And I think there are some specific exercises that calms them down, like child's pose. We did this with the ball. Actually, they were holding the ball and just breathing and kind of feeling. I made it up. I told them, you know, the ball can also breathe, and they're like paying attention to to this thing, breathing with them. But 2 years after I taught one of those classes, a kid approached me and said, you know, that when I was angry at home, I tried this child's pose with a pillow, and it really helped me. So I'd say never underestimate the power of teaching people tools that they can use regardless of age.
Interesting.
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
Yeah, we have one more question here. Thank you, Jordan. Can you talk a little bit more about what thinking to yourself does for you and what that means?
What thinking to myself?
Yeah, and you were doing the exercise and you say, thank you, Helena. And like,
the thinking, yes. Well, I don't know how many times you get thanked throughout the day. So during this time, we have to social distance, and people are very afraid to be nice to each other in certain aspects. Like hugging yourself is a good thing because no one's gonna hug you for free these days unless it's a family member. And thanking yourself is a beginning to accept self-love, which is at the very base of lack of self-esteem. So thanking yourself means a lot more than, you know, it's not about the ego, oh, you're super cool person. It's more about, thank you for taking the time to take care of yourself. And that's the reason, that's the intention. I hope I answered the question.
Yeah, it totally makes sense. I think, you know, we need to start with self-love and love yourself and accepting yourself, regardless or where you come from, what are your religious belief, what move forward you in life. I think that's really important. You were also talking a little bit about the music, and I think when we do yoga, we sometimes think about just complete silence. What type of music do you recommend?
Oh my God, the music you love, the music that makes you, your goosebumps when you're dancing, that music, use it with yoga. That would not be a recommendation that most yoga teachers do. I combine different things. Currently, I'm listening to flamenco music while I'm doing yoga. Can you imagine? But I'd say soul music. I'd say, I mean, if you put really hard rock, you're up for a ride. But I think that something that makes you feel at ease with yourself and allows that movement is just so beautiful. I would recommend people to find music and songs that allow them to be vibrant. And if you want to calm yourself, then choose something that calms you down. But yeah, it's wide open. It's an experience. I would recommend people to try that.
Interesting.
Yeah.
One more question. We see yoga requires a lot of flexibility in terms of, you know, the posture that you have to have. And you just gave us a great example. Do you have any goal for flexibility for those who are, you know, beginners starting yoga?
Yeah. Well, I'm gonna be a little bit philosophical here. The same goal as in happiness or success in life. I mean, what's the goal? You have to find for yourself. I remember when I started yoga a long time ago, actually it was more than 20 years ago. I'm gonna demonstrate what my flexibility was. Okay, I'm turning 50. So back then I was 30. That was it. That was it. So I went to the class, and this was in class full of people from all ages. And I wasn't the youngest or I wasn't the oldest, but I didn't feel good. And the teacher said, I mean, don't compare yourself. So it's the same thing in life. Happiness. Are you going to compare yourself with the happiness that someone defines, or are you going to find happiness for yourself? You're going to compare yourself to success that other people define, or you're going to find success for yourself in your own terms, define it for yourself. So what I did was just try and breathe. And I would get so angry. Sometimes I would just force myself to go down, and then I didn't get injured, but I would, have more soreness. But, today, yes, I can reach here, that maybe tomorrow I can reach farther. So it's a matter of practicing, a lot of self-love, a lot of acceptance, and anyone can start yoga practice. It doesn't matter where you start, what stage or what flexibility. First time ever I went to a yoga class, the teacher was 82.
Wow.
82. And all the people that attended the class were grandmas and grandpas, except for me. So there you go.
Thank you, Helene. We're gonna wrap it up. We're gonna follow up the conversation offline. Please make sure to follow Kuma on social media, Facebook, Instagram. Also reach out Alpha website. We have tons of events, comments, and information for both sides. So we also have a 10% discount for those who attended today, Wednesday and Monday. So feel free to reach out Kuma directly or Alpha. So if your company or yourself think that you guys need that mental health on point, and especially returning back to the second phase of COVID-19 and recovery, our normal lives, which are not normal anymore. The new normal, it's setting a different tone for everyone. So please don't hesitate to reach out either Alpha or Kuma. As a reminder, we're here as an Alpha community to support each other. So if you're looking for jobs, if you're looking for mentorship, if you're looking for an advice, or just for someone to listen to you, we're here, guys. So spread out the support, spread out the help. Alpha have done this for more than 4 decades. So we're a strong community supporting each other. So don't hesitate to reach out. On June 30th, we have an upcoming event returning to the office with the Chief of Economic Development of the City of Boston, John Barrows. So it's going to be an interesting conversation to see how we're going to go back to office. What are the things that we need? What are the new rules and policies that we need to pay attention, or the social distancing? How's that going to happen when you're at the office working with 20, 15 people at the same time? So follow up the survey, give us feedback. We're more than happy, to provide more content and different topics. After the webinar, we're gonna follow up with an email. I strongly encourage you guys. This is possible because of your help. Some of the sponsor of today's webinar, lead sponsor, State Street Eastern Bank, Mass Mutual, Justice Resource Institute, Platinum, we have KPMG, Gold, we have MFS, Fidelity Investment, Silver, we have Bank of America, the Greater Boston Chamber of Commerce, and CBRE, Brown, Harvard, and some other sponsors. Strategic, we have Suffolk University and Cambridge College. And thank you again. Thank you, Helena, for your time. This has been a wonderful 3 days of webinar. I think everyone have taken different tools and suggestions and advice that it is time to put them in practice. So I hope that the conversation continues at home, at office, through email, through social media. So thank you so much for your time.